In your headlines, KB Home Center has been prosecuted for employing illegal persons. The Minister of Health talks on the dramatic spike of COVID cases. From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providenciales, your #1 source for news, I'm Erica Pinales delivering the latest from across the country this Wednesday, January 19th, 2022, right to your door. Newswatch starts now. In today's top story, police are exhaustively investigating a spree of robberies that occurred throughout the holidays and increased most recently. Through this, they've been able to make a number of arrests. Take a look.
Civilians can breathe a small sigh of relief to learn that officers are hard at work investigating and nabbing criminals for a number of aggravated burglaries that began right before the holidays and increased coming into the new year. Newswatch learns that the two men stopped, searched, and arrested on suspicion after police conducted a stop and search in the early morning of Friday, January 14th, are 36-year-old Lorenzo Caesar and 46-year-old Stevenson Morris. They were taken in when officers found masks, weapons, and suspected stolen items in the vehicle they occupied. The men were formally charged and cautioned the next day for an aggravated burglary that took place in Grace Spade. Investigators are seeking one additional person believed to be an accomplice of the pair. Newswatch also learns that one man was arrested at a home in Five Keys after being wanted for a number of offenses. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 1-800-8477.
Following an operation by the Immigration Task Force from the Ministry of Immigration and Border Services, Ananda Limited Traded, also known as KB Home Center, has been convicted of 3 counts of employing prohibited persons. We bring you the details. Following an operation by the Immigration Task Force from the Ministry of Immigration and Border Services, Ananda Limited Trading, also known as KB Home Center, has been convicted of 3 counts of employing prohibited persons. According to a government press release, acting on intelligence in June 2021, task force officers visited KB Home Center locations off Leeward Highway and Five Keys and found the 3 persons, all Haitian nationals, working without permission. All persons were detained and have since been removed from the Turks and Caicos Islands, repatriated back to Haiti. Following the Immigration Department's investigation, Ananda Limited Trading was charged and pleaded guilty to 3 counts of employing a prohibited person. The company was sentenced at court to a fine of $2,000 or 30 days imprisonment on each count. The head of Immigration Task Force, Tito Forbes, said, "This was an operation informed by our Immigration Intelligence Unit and which led to a detailed investigation by my officers, resulting in the conviction of a business here in Providenciales for employing illegal workers. Businesses that employ illegal workers are a huge part of our challenge. Migrants risk their lives trying to get to the TCI because they think they can find work and live here illegally." The Minister of Immigration and Border Services, Honorable Arlington Musgrove, said, "Employing illegal workers is a criminal offense and not one that is without a victim, and rogue employers have an unfair advantage over legitimate businesses who do not play by the rules. The TCI is working hard to combat illegal immigration, and businesses offering employment to illegal migrants are only harming the efforts of our country in tackling this issue. Members of the public are encouraged to report information regarding illegal migration activity, including businesses or persons employing illegal workers, by contacting Crime Stoppers, which can be done anonymously on 1-800-8477. It's time for a quick break. More News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
In this next story, the Minister of Health talks the latest COVID-19 spike and what officials feel attributed to the dramatic rise in cases that caused some panic amongst islanders. Here's more.
The health minister says he hopes that the TCI will see the end of this latest surge within the next 2 months and speaks on what he says they feel attributed to the dramatic spike in COVID cases over the last few weeks.
At the same time, Omicron would have been coming on the scene worldwide. We also relaxed some of our measures, and unfortunately, while we did said that we anticipate persons to continue to exercise personal responsibility, I think the fact that we were relaxing some of the regulations in terms of the stringentness and like removing curfew, etc., I think persons took that as an indication that, okay, we're open for business and we're free and COVID is behind us.
Minister Honorable Jamel Robinson says the spike is also in part due to increased travel over the holidays, and although its presence remains unconfirmed in our shores, the infamous Omicron variant.
With the holiday season, there's generally increased movement between the islands, increased persons coming inside of the country as well. So we would have, in the initial stages, early December to mid-December, the majority of the cases that we were experiencing were from visitors. And then that would have translated eventually into community spread, where we're seeing 3 to 7 visitors versus community spread now. So it's just one of those things that I think, regardless of the relaxing of the regulations, given how potent Omicron is, there was likely to be a spike regardless.
When asked to clarify the dramatic changes in the ministry's dashboard where recoveries were concerned, the minister explained,
essentially what you have, and again, this would speak to the fluctuation, right? So on any one day, you would have a number of recoveries as well as possibly a number of positive cases. So, for example, let's say today we have 10 people who test positive, so they'll be added, and this is through the confirmatory PCR testing. So that'll be an additional 10 persons that are added. But if 100 people recover on the same day, that's 90 persons more than the 10 who would have been newly positive. So that's why you would have a decrease in 90 persons on that day. So even though you get new positives, the recoveries far outweighed the positives. So the reverse is true as well. So on a day, if you have only 10 recoveries, but 100 positives, then it would go up by 90. So that's why you would see the fluctuation and big jumps as well as big decreases.
Honorable Robinson says one thing for certain is there is no manipulation of numbers when it comes to the country's COVID-19 dashboard. However, changes have been made in recovery time for vaccinated persons, which would affect these numbers to some extent. He also spoke on his government's decision to keep the country's borders open despite the rapid rise in cases. We'll have those details for you in a subsequent newscast.
Level 4, very high for COVID-19 infection, is the new warning issued this week by the Center for Disease Control for persons thinking of traveling to the Turks and Caicos Islands. They are advising that all travel to the TCI should now be avoided. The change in classification comes as no surprise, given the CDC's stringent rating strategy and the upsurge in cases being seen in the TCI over the past several weeks. The U.S. agency is saying that because of the current situation in the TCI, even fully vaccinated travelers may be at risk for getting and spreading the COVID variants. While the TCI government has not confirmed that the Omicron variant is in the country, other sections of the society have their own views on that. Minister of Health, the Honorable Jamel Robinson, told Newswatch today that they have sent off test samples to ascertain whether the highly transmissible variant of the virus is indeed in the country. He says they are still awaiting these results. In the meantime, the last reported COVID-19 dashboard for active cases has declined somewhat. It stood at 565 as at time of press, a decrease from 914 just 2 days prior. But that has been the trend for the past few weeks, a significant decline followed by an exponential increase in just 24 hours. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
Don't touch that remote. We'll be right back. Coming up next is your Sports Authority and weather forecast. Sister Craft Market Souvenir Shop. Come and visit us for your travel keepsakes, keychains, artwork, t-shirts, clothing, jewelry, and many more. We're located at the Lower Bight gas station in Providenciales, and you can contact us at 649-341-3070. That's 649-341-3070. Sister Craft Market and Souvenir Shop.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. Here's the latest in your Sports Authority and weather forecast.
Bright and eager members of the TCI swim team had their eyes set on competing on an international platform last month. However, there were some drawbacks to their plans. Arlea, Sophie, and Sean were 3 of the members selected to compete in the United Arab Emirates at the Abu Dhabi World Championships on TCI's behalf. Unfortunately, Sean Walters was unable to join his other teammates as the United Arab Emirates does not recognize Turks and Caicos as a country. This according to head coach Ezekiel Hall.
We had some problems with the TCI passports. Some of our delegates who only had the TCI passport were met with some difficulties in getting through the final leg of the trip into Abu Dhabi. So they were actually denied entry, and that was a big setback for us. So one of our swimmers didn't have the opportunity to participate, but had to come back home to Turks and Caicos because the Turks and Caicos was not recognized by the United Arab Emirates. As a country, really. We were nowhere on their radar.
Sean Walters only has a Turks and Caicos passport, so that meant that unlike his teammates, he was unable to compete at the meet as planned.
It was good being able to be selected on the team, but unfortunately I wasn't able to make it.
However, he did not let this get him down. Instead, he is looking ahead to his next meet.
Work harder and be more determined and be ready for next year.
While the United Arab Emirates have placed bans on countries such as South Africa as part of their COVID-19 restrictions following the discovery of the Omicron variant last year, the details of why a TCI passport was not recognized has left Coach Hall puzzled, as there is no direct cause.
And even though being an overseas British territory like Cayman, Bermuda, these countries were there, and we weren't even allowed to use that affiliation with the UK to gain entry into Abu Dhabi.
The swim team has been up to so much more in the past few weeks. We'll bring you those in a subsequent newscast. Reporting for your Sports Authority, I'm Ali Carvey.
Here's your weather forecast for January 20th, 2022. For the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high 81, low 75, winds east-southeast at 15 to 25 miles per hour. For South Caicos on Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high 81, low 75, winds east-southeast at 15 to 25 miles per hour. For North and Middle Caicos on Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high 81, low 75, winds east-southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. For Parrot and Pine Key on Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high 81, low 75, winds east-southeast at 15 to 25 miles per hour. And on Providenciales on Thursday, mostly sunny skies, high 81, low 75, winds east-southeast at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Now for your sunrise and sunset. Sunrise 6:31 a.m., sunset 5:31 p.m. And for your high tides and low tides, high tides 9 a.m., 9:22 p.m., and low tides 2:41 a.m., 3:18 p.m. And that's it for your weather forecast. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future.
I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
Welcome back to News Watch. World health experts have warned that repeated COVID boosters as a non-viable strategy against new variants. Instead, they are urging the development of a new vaccine that protects against transmission of the virus in the first place.
In a statement last week, the World Health Organization's Technical Advisory Group says that a vaccination strategy based on repeated booster doses of the original vaccine composition is unlikely to be appropriate or sustainable. The group of experts who are working to assess the performance of COVID-19 vaccines called for the development of new vaccines that not only protect people who contract COVID against falling seriously ill, but also better prevent people from catching the virus in the first place in order to deal with emerging COVID variants such as Omicron. The group says COVID-19 vaccines that have high impact on prevention of infection and transmission, in addition to the prevention of severe disease and death, are needed and should be developed. This, it says, would help lower community transmission and the need for stringent and broad-reaching public health and social measures. It also suggests that vaccine developers should strive to create jabs that elicit immune responses that are broad, strong, and long-lasting in order to reduce the need for successive booster shots. As the virus evolves and until new vaccines are available, the composition of current COVID-19 vaccines may need to be updated, the group says. According to the World Health Organization, 331 candidate vaccines are being worked on around the world. The UN Health Agency has so far given its stamp of approval to versions of 8 different vaccines. The global COVID death toll has passed the grim milestone of 5.5 million, with a figure of 5,510,327, according to researchers at Johns Hopkins University. Meanwhile, infections passed 315 million to a worldwide figure of 390,402. So far, more than 8 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in at least 219 territories, while more than 67% in high-income countries have received at least one jab. Fewer than 11% have in low-income countries. This is according to the United Nations numbers. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
That brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Pinales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.